Are you interested in an SG standard from 2020? I know you are because you clicked this video. Stay tuned because here's how I got it. So the best video that is like doing on my channel is this Jaguar made in Japan. It was like 12 pounds, so I traded it for this SG actually, and I think it was a fantastic trade. I got exactly what I wanted. It's a 2020 SG in an ebony finish. It has Grover tuners on it. It's insanely light. It's only like 6 pounds. It's all original. There's no modifications to it. When I got it, it was a little crusty. Like it had some like glue spots on it. This is like 6 months ago when I first got it, and just me looking at it. So you can see that there's like glue sprout coming from the inlays or coming from the frets. I don't know what Gibson does, but I took care of that right away, and I just got some really fine sandpaper and took my time and just got it out of there. It was really easy fix. It's barely it's a quality control issue for sure, but not really. And it was a used guitar. I'm the second owner of it. But yeah, like 2000 grit sandpaper, you can remove all of the tooling marks that are there. You can remove all of the glue that's there. It's not a big deal. But it's bound fingerboard, rosewood fingerboard. It's 22 frets. It's a 24.5-inch scale. So today, whenever you're watching this, I'm gonna do a string change, and then we'll talk about the guitar, my likes and my dislikes about the guitar. So let's start with things that don't matter, but things that I do dislike about the guitar. So for one is, if you can look at the fretboard, the binding and the switch tip and the acrylic inlays, they all have this aged look to them, and they're like kind of dark and like ambered over kind of thing. And I think that looks fantastic. But if you look at the pickguard is like a bone white, and it doesn't match it or the aesthetic of it at all. And I don't know why they do that. And I don't know if it's because maybe the pickguard will age faster over time, but that doesn't make sense. So why is it two different colors? I also don't like the knobs that come on the SG. Like, that's just a personal preference. I prefer witch hat knobs. I can get my hand in witch hat knobs easier. The letters are bigger. I also like speed knobs, but I didn't have any speed knobs, and I had witch hat knobs, so I put witch hat knobs on it, and I think it looks awesome. I can see why people like Angus Young do it. I'm not the biggest AC/DC fan. Like, I respect Angus and Malcolm a lot, but I'm not like listening to them every day, and that's not my inspiration for the guitar at all. I'm much more of a, I have an SG because Tony Iommi has an SG, but he has the SG with P90s, but that's a whole different other story. But yeah, I don't know why they have that like stark contrast and all of that, but maybe they'll see this and be like, yeah, that is weird. Why do we do that? Or like, why don't they put like the bone white binding on it and all of that? But that's like the main like problem that I have. The other one is the Batwing pickguard isn't my favorite pickguard. I aesthetically like what it looks like, but getting inside of it and having to reset up everything when you take the pickguard off, that's obnoxious, and I think that's just a poor design. All right, so now that I've completely dissuaded you from ever looking at an SG again, what are the things I like about it? I think the neck is fantastic. The playability on the neck is very important. It's extremely comfortable to play. If you like big necks. Sitting down, standing up, it's super light, as you saw. 6 pounds it's a great weight for a guitar. You don't really find guitars like under 7, so finding a guitar under 7, if you like that kind of thing. Some people really like really heavy guitars, so buy a Les Paul, who cares? The control layout, at first, I thought I wouldn't like it, but playing with it a lot, I found myself, it's a lot better. The only other Gibson I've ever owned was a Firebrand, and I thought the switching was similar to it, and I thought I wouldn't like the SG switching because of the Firebrand switching, but because the pickup selector is in a different spot, it's actually more comfortable that way, and the different in the spot in front of the knobs, whereas the Firebrand is right above the knobs, and that was uncomfortable to me. So I've played with it around. So the reason I had that Jaguar was to kind of do more drop D stuff, some riffs, maybe like D standard stuff. I keep this pretty much in drop D now just to play riffs on and stuff, and it's more comfortable for me having the flatter radius to do bends in the higher registers. 7.25 inch radius, bending is almost like non-existent. It's mainly used for chords and stuff. So drop D on this is much more comfortable to play in, and I really like it. The neck is enormous. I like thicker necks. I prefer a wider neck than a smaller neck, and I prefer a flatter fretboard to a rounder fretboard. So like a 10-inch radius is very comfortable. That's like the like, aside from like Fenders like 9.5, those are pretty comfortable to me. But that's it. Like anything below that, I kind of stay away from. And I find myself playing flatter and flatter radiuses and enjoying them more and more. The pickups are 490R and 490T. They remind me of PRS's 50, I think it's 5708s, just with a little bit more mid-range and more aggressive. I have a 5708 in the neck of my S2, so that's kind of what it sounds like. So Gibson would describe this as a rounded neck. I think the 61 SGs have more of a slim taper neck. So as you can see, the neck itself is pretty round and full. And it's not like an asymmetrical neck where there's like one side that's kind of fuller than the other side. It's kind of like just a beefier standard neck. And like the PRSs that I have, those all feel like a standard neck, except for the 594, which that feels more like a fuller rounded neck. But what's funny about this is, if you guys remember that thing called COVID in 2020, so this is a 2020 body, but the pickups are actually dated for 2021. So I think the body was made in like April, or I can double check, but it was made in like April or May. And what's funny is, like, right at that time, a lot of things were shutting down, and the pickups were actually made in 2021, and so the pickups to the body are mismatched. And so then also, like, just the supply chain issues, they probably couldn't get pots because the pot codes aren't dated. And I'll open up the back cavity. But right now I'm gonna condition the fretboard. I use the PRS cleaning system. It has fretboard oil. It has guitar cleaner. It gets all like the fingerprints off of it and stuff. And then there's actually guitar polish, and the polish kind of buffs everything out and gives it a mirror shine, which I really like. But this fretboard oil is great. I highly recommend it. And yeah, you just kind of go over your fretboard back and forth. This is me sped up, so it's super dirty. Actually, it's very tedious, but it's also kind of fun to do. But and when you see the fretboard when it's done, it makes all the difference in the world. But even Guitar Center dated this as a 2020 Gibson SG in standard. Brief sidetrack. The gig bag is great. It's very good. I actually hate cases. A lot of people have like controversial opinions about cases. Some people love cases, some people hate them. I think that if you have a guitar, it should not sit in a case, and you should play your guitar. But this is that fretboard after I polish it up, and as you can see, super streaky, super vibrant. There's not a lot of moving on it, but it has a lot of character. I like it. Very, very nice. And then here's inside of the back cavity. Some people have questionable opinions about quick connect systems. I don't care that much as long as they function properly. If it ever crapped out on me, I could take it apart and I could solder it the old way, but my Fenders have quick connect systems in them, and this has a quick connect system, and I don't actually think it's that big of a deal, unless it fails, and then, but it's a nice way to keep everything organized. And then this is the bridge. It's Advanced Plating Incorporated. It's a Nashville style bridge that Gibson uses, and then same with the tailpiece. It's pretty full weight. And then here we have the nut measurement. It's 1.7, and then we have a 0.81 at the first fret, and then 0.82 at the 12th fret. So the neck stays really consistent around. A thing that I've noticed about SGs is that their pickups are actually closer together than most, and I compared them with other guitars, and that was true. The PRS actually has the closest pickups for humbucking pickups, I've noticed, out of all the guitars that I've played and measured. And it's actually really close to the SG. And now the question I know that you all have, neck dive. SGs have neck dive. They're always top heavy and they always crash and death and blah, blah, blah. This is just like a regular strap. So like, no, it doesn't neck dive at all. It's totally fine. Look at it. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe, or a hate comment, or a positive comment. I like reading all of them. It doesn't matter which. And hopefully I can get more long videos out. It's hard to do them because there's constantly sounds in the background, and I don't have a lot of time to do voice recordings. But I have a lot of guitars that I can take apart and look at and do more in-depth stuff on, and I like doing it. So I've been doing a lot of shorts lately, and I'm probably going to keep doing those as well. So until the next time, see you on the next video.